Hiya, and welcome to another Reading Wednesday. It's your girl, Logan. I read, and today I'm doing a book that honestly is one of the most. I'm really excited for this video because this is the video I always wanted to make when I made a booktube, and it's not really a book review. It's more so like addressing one of the oldest ship wars, like. I don't know, maybe like not the first ship war ever, but like one of the first, because I'm going to be talking about Little Women, baby. Okay, and I'm going to be talking about Jo and Laurie versus Amy and Laurie, and why only one is acceptable, and it's the latter. Amy and Laurie is the only answer, okay? Now, listen, with this, I'm going to first explain myself and how I got into Little Women. So first, I just watched the movie with Timothée Chalamet, like the 2019 most recent film adaptation of it, okay? I watched it and I loved them so much. I loved Amy and Laurie so much. Florence Pugh and Timothée Chalamet gave us so much beautiful chemistry and just a beautiful relationship that I was like, I want more of that. And though I read the book. I read this one exactly right here. It's like 700 pages. Because, I don't know. I don't really know why, actually. It's so long. Because I guess, like, there's it's technically, like, two books in one. Because she finished part one and then published part two, but whatever. This is the version I read of it. And I just adored it. I adored it. And then I watched the 1994 version, too. I kind of wanted to watch all film adaptations of Little Women. But after like 1994, it was like Elizabeth Taylor was Amy, and that version was so boring, and I couldn't get through it. One day we'll do that, but I'm not doing that today. I'm just going to address the honest anger I had. Not anger. Anger is not the right word. I don't want to say I don't have anger towards Jo Laurie shippers. I have confusion and disdain. Maybe that's the word. Disdain is probably the best word I'm going to get for that. But yes, it's just like, and I'm only going to address the people who read the book. Like, if you only ship Jo and Laurie because, like, I don't know, you watched the movie but you never read the book, then I'm not really addressing you. I'm talking to people who read the book, and I think there's, like, a trend, really, among Jo and Laurie shippers. Like, you read it as a child, and then you just love the idea of them together, like, when you were a child, and then you just never read it again. And so you just ship Jo and Laurie ever since you were a child, and that's the only reason that you really ship them, you know? Or, like, I'm like, you didn't address it, but I'm gonna just address why in the book it's like Jo and Laurie being together just like literally makes no sense. Alright, like I'm just like, why would you want something that both characters don't want? And I'm just gonna discuss this. We're gonna get into it. I have points, I have quotes from the book. I can make another video about the movie adaptation and why it's the best, or like whatever, yeah, anyway. And then I'm gonna do a little illustration too of Amy and Laurie, of course, because I love them and they're perfection. And honestly, I wanted to make this video. It's like my fourth video now. It took me so long because this illustration, this like time lapse really gave me a run for my money. I had to start it like four different times because I had so many ideas. Well, all kind of the same idea and different ways to go about it. But it was just my nightmare. It was a nightmare. Like, I kept trying to draw them. Timothée Chalamet and Florence Pugh. Florence wouldn't give me that much trouble, but Timothy really did. Timothy kept coming out like he was Timothée Chalamet's cousin. And then I was like, you know what, it doesn't even matter. They don't have to look exactly like them, but like, gosh, like it was difficult. So without further ado, Jo and Laurie versus Amy and Laurie. And why Amy and Laurie is superior, according to the book. And why I believe you cannot be an intellectual. You cannot be an intellectual and a true reader if you ship Jo and Laurie and you read the book Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Let's get into it, okay? So listen, when I say this is my claim for this video, so I say I don't believe any true reader can ship Jo and Laurie, that I want to define my definition of reader, okay? And so this is like beyond simply reading the words on the page. A reader to me is a person who reads and comprehends the story as well as the themes and the intentions of the author in writing it. Okay? So I'm just like, you can't fall in that category if you read Little Women and still came out of it shipping Jo and Laurie. You just can't. You can't. Okay? Even though I'm like low-key, I'm like, it's the heart wants what the heart wants. So really just know this is in jest. If you ship Jo and Laurie, I really don't care. I don't care, of course, because like, I don't know you. But I don't know you. I'm not going to stop you from shipping it. I'm just ranting. This is just a fun thing to rant for me, okay? And for my Amy and Laurie shippers out there, I'm just like, I just like doing this. So anyway, reasons why Jo and Laurie make no sense. Just started off that way, and then I'm going to go into reasons why Amy and Laurie are perfect. But first, let's just get into why Jo and Laurie just legit makes no sense. It's just the idea. The idea of them together is nice. The reality is no such thing. Okay, so their being together like literally unravels any character development for both parties. Okay, for both parties. For Jo, she at first didn't want a man. That's first of all, let's just say like with Little Women, the whole point of this is kind of like growing up, okay? It's the juxtaposition of childhood and adulthood. That's what it was, and that's what every character in the book really goes through. So that's the point of it, okay? Now Jo was she struggled the most with her role in society as a woman, having to get married, and you're not a man, you can't go to war, and you have to act ladylike, and da-da-da-da-da. She didn't want to do any of those things. And Laurie, let me just say, he is a boy when he's with her. Like, he was always an immature boy with Jo. He was never a man. He was never a man. She never pushed him to do anything because she didn't expect him to. She just goofed off with him, and that's what he liked. But neither of them would have ever grown up together. They never would have pushed each other in any sort of developmental way. Okay, like, you want to be with someone who makes you your best, like, that's the best version of you. They make you want to be better. And Jo didn't do that for Laurie, and Laurie didn't do that for Jo. Like, Laurie, like, I think, oh my goodness, let me just say this, too. In that scene in Little Women, like, if you've seen, like, the latest film adaptation where Timothy and like Laurie and Jo were arguing on the mountain, I think it's I'm like, that's the really good acting scene, right? It gives me such cringe. I hate watching it because it gives me such incel vibes from Laurie. He was like, I did everything for you, Jo. I didn't go to that school. I stopped wearing those shirts that you didn't like, and I did it because I thought you loved me, Jo. And it's just like, it's so embarrassing because it's like, boy, you really did everything that she wanted you to do just to get her, and and she didn't want you, baby. She didn't want you. She just didn't love you. I'm sorry. She friend-zoned you with confidence. I don't know what to say. It was like so embarrassing for me watching that scene. I'm just like, let's please move on. This is so embarrassing. Like, he literally did everything for her. And it's just like they hindered each other. They really did. Like, Laurie wouldn't have grown up. He didn't grow up and do what he wanted to do, which is the only thing that, let's be honest, would impress Jo. The only thing that impresses Jo is like when someone is confident in themselves. You're not going to impress Jo by doing what she tells you to do. That's not it. You impress Jo by doing something, like she can't do. Or doing something like it strongly and making your own choices, being strong. And Laurie was not that with her. He really wasn't. He bended to her will constantly. And does Jo need a man like that? No. That was a friend. That was her teddy bear. It's Teddy, okay? She didn't want him, and he couldn't handle her, honestly. It was just like, nah, you don't need that. That's not what you need. But they both hinder each other, okay? Because Laurie he would just always listen to Jo. He never would have gone out on his own. He never would have forced himself to grow up like Amy did later on in England when he goes to work for like his dad. Paris. Goes to work for his dad and makes something of himself, because like Jo never even told him to do that. Jo was actually against that. They were both holding themselves back in this falsehood of like, let's just grow old, like just be children forever. And that's not how the world works. And that's what Little Women sought to teach you. Laurie's crush on Jo is childlike infatuation, really. And he idolized Jo too much to ever see her and love her as a real person. He never would have called her out if she was wrong. He never would have, I'm trying to think if he ever called. Like, no, he never would have pushed her to do something that she should do but didn't want to do. He he wasn't it. He couldn't be that partner for her. He idolized her too much. He liked her too much just as she was. And she wasn't perfect. And that's the thing. So anyway, I have a quote found on page 670 that says, he was reluctantly obliged to confess that the boyish passion was sure to pass away in time, leaving a brotherly affection. Okay, so like, I'm just saying that it was just a boyish passion. Like, it's not for real, okay? And then, like, so neither of the characters want each other romantically. They both reach that place. They both reach a place where they are like, okay, well, we friends, and that's cool, and I like that. And they admit that they're comfortable with this. There's no regret, and there's no longing for each other, and there's no longing of like a romantic relationship. And this is on page 699, where it says the pillow was gone, because they always sat with like a pillow between them. But there was a barricade, nevertheless, a natural one raised by time, absence, and change of heart. Both felt it. Change of heart. They're just like, nah, we good, Holmes. You know, like, they cool. Like, they're brother and sister now. And that's how they both thought it was to be. And also, this is another thing. So after Joe, like, you know, rejects him, essentially, he goes to like London and like, you know, he travels and stuff, and we don't really see this. We kind of see it. The only bit we get to see of this, the heartbreak he has, is when he's drunk and he stands up Amy in like Paris, and she yells at him. Well, she doesn't yell at him, but she, like, you know, she lays him she rips him a new one with her words. In that ballroom scene, that's the only glimpse we get of him being like depressed and sad. But in the book, Laurie himself is actually like, he tries to wallow in it because he thinks this is his greatest heartbreak, his first love denying him. He thinks this is the greatest heartbreak ever. But he's actually surprised by how quickly he gets over Joe, and that he's not even as depressed as he imagined he would be. So it's like Laurie's heart wouldn't ache. The wound persisted in healing with a rapidity that astonished him. Okay, like, that's the wound. He's like, oh my God, heart, oh my gosh, like, we just lost Joe. Joe don't want us. And then his heart, like, that's cool. Okay, that's nice, whatever. We weren't gonna marry her, no way, we already knew. You know, and he's like, aren't you sad? Aren't you anything? And it's like, no, I'm not. Like, we good, bruh. We gonna keep chugging along. It's gonna be Gucci. You know, like, that's literally what happened. And it's so, also, I think that another thing that bothers me a lot, actually, with Joe and Laurie staying friends, and then everyone like being like, oh no, but they should have been together, it discounts the most beautiful, like, male-female friendship that we've ever gotten in like entertainment. I feel like you always had that idea that men and women cannot be friends, okay? And so I think that it's like, this is actually the first friendship you get where they can be, well, they can't, like, I mean, they weren't for a second, like, you know, but it's hard to say. But like, they go into a beautiful friendship where it's like, yeah, I did like you for a second, but, you know, I grew out of that, so that's cool, and now we're just friends, okay? So I'm just, and I think the both characters too, it just, like, when you ship Joe and Laurie, to me, it just discounts. Like, it's like, do you even like those characters? Because like, all the growth they went through is completely done. It's like, because they didn't get together. Okay, they both recognize the change that them not becoming an item brought about. For the better, okay? So this is one of the quotes. I was a boy then. This is Laurie, of course. I was a boy then, headstrong and violent, and it took a hard lesson to show me my mistake. Okay? And then what's her face? Joe. Why do I keep forgetting their names? Joe says, I shall miss my boy, but I shall love the man as much and admire him more because he means to be what I hoped he would. We can't be little playmates any longer, but we will be brother and sister to love and help one another all our lives, won't we, Laurie? Okay, like, it's like, that is so freaking sweet. That is beautiful. That is a beautiful friendship right there. She's like, you're a man I always hoped you would be. But she never actually like taught him how to do that. She never urged him to, because she was like, she didn't care. Amy cared. Amy was like, nah, you gonna learn today. You gonna grow up. This is ridiculous. I know my sister stomped on your heart, okay, and set it on fire and ripped it up into a little million pieces, whatever. But this is pathetic, baby. We gotta get up. we gotta keep going. It was just like, no, this is ridiculous. And so that was like most of the video was just me saying why Joe and Laurie just doesn't make any sense as just like a developmental story platform, like from the story element. Okay, it just doesn't make sense. It just baffles me. It's just like you're discounting the characters' feelings. They both reach a place where they just don't want to be together anymore, but then like people are just like, Jo and Laurie forever, and I'm just like, no. Anyway, so why Amy and Laurie are perfect for each other. Oh my gosh. So they complement and they bring out the best in each other. Okay, that's most Laurie finally become the man that Amy always deserved and wanted. Like we kind of think now in the book, I was like, I guess she did always love Laurie. She always had a crush on him. I was like, I didn't think she was in love with him really. Part of me was like, you have to read the book again to really see. But like, I was like, I didn't think she was in love with him from like day one, like when she first saw him as a child. In the movie film adaptation, the most recent one, like it's more apparent, of course, that she always was in love with Laurie, you know, like that, even though he wasn't feeling her. But I mean, she was like literally 12, so it would have been kind of gross. Anyway, but yeah, and that's like their love story is so sweet too, because she loves him her entire life, right? She loves this man, and then she finally gets with him, and he finally gets the love that he always wanted, that Joe didn't at first. Joe didn't want that, and Joe wasn't going to give him that. Okay? And so it's like, if they did get together, think about it. Like, you would legit be in a relationship where one person loves the other more. That's what would happen. And I've been in that, and it's not fun. I walked away from it because I was like, I deserve better than this. Like, it wasn't a relationship, it was a friendship. But still, like, when you are in a relationship with someone and you're putting more energy in than they are, that is not fun. That's not fun at all. It hurts. You become insecure. It's like your ego is like bruised. And that's what you want for Laurie? That's what you want? Because Joe would not be caring about him at all. But anyway, so Amy literally gets to be with the man she's wanted all her life, and Laurie quickly, like, he learns to adore her just as much. Like, she's just as vital for him. And I love in the movie how he says, he's like, I love you, like, I'll always love you, but the love I feel for Amy, it's different, you know? And it's just like so nice, because it was such a, and I love too in the juxtaposition in the movie from like Laurie when he was a boy and Laurie when he was in Paris, because he really seemed like a man. He was so smart. He was so confident, it seemed, with Amy. And then even when he went back to the March house and saw Joe for the first time, she just turns him into a boy. Like, she holds all the cards in that relationship for some reason. I really don't know why. It was just like he seeks to impress her too much or something, or thinks too highly of her. But like in that scene when he tells her, you know, that, hey, I'm married now, it's just like, you can just, I don't know, it's the way Timothée Chalamet acts the scene out to me, that he shrinks in on himself and he seems so unsure of himself in the face of Joe. Okay? So that's ridiculous. It's like, nah, that ain't gonna work. Okay? They fell in love in Paris as adults. Paris, the city of love. Okay? And Amy's love for Laurie, this is my favorite part, is Amy's love for Laurie doesn't keep her from criticizing him and ultimately making him better. Okay? Like, she always wanted him to be better, but it was never like she didn't idolize him. She didn't hold him back at all. So I really did love that too. And I have one quote here. It says, I forgot you were rich when I said yes. I'd have married you if you hadn't a pity. And I sometimes wish you were poor, that I might show how much I love you. That's Amy and Laurie. She's like, no, I forgot you were rich when I said yes, baby. Like, I wish you were penniless. I wish you were penniless, so that I could be like, look how much I love this poor man. I married him for nothing but my heart. But now she's like, I married him for his heart, but he also got a wallet too. He got a wallet too. But I could have had a bigger wallet that I turned down for this man, you know? And they get like, married. I think the proposal scene in the book, it takes place with them like rowing on a boat, okay? While they're taking a break, like traveling back to the March house or whatever. I don't even know where they are, Massachusetts, whatever. And they're like so in sync, and they're just kind of like, they say, I wish we could do this always. And then they just both know what each other means, and it's just so freaking sweet, and it's like, oh my goodness, like, it's just so many feels. Oh my goodness. They were so good together. It's just amazing. And they tease each other so much. They tease each other in front of, it's just, they're just in love. They were in love, and it's beautiful. And I'm just like, why does no one appreciate this? I actually have on my private YouTube, of course, like on my like personal, that's not, you know, booktube, I have a playlist of Amy and Laurie edits. I love those so much. I have like 18 of them in there. If you make Amy and Laurie edits, I just want to kiss you on like both of your cheeks and your nose and your forehead and wherever, because I just love you. I'm just like, I love you so much, because I have no idea how to make edits myself, but they're so freaking beautiful. There are so many good Amy and Laurie edits out there that are just like, mwah, they're just beautiful. I'm just like, how did you do this? How did you make a 5-minute video out of like all of their things? I just don't know. I don't understand it. That's amazing to me, but I love them so much. I watch them before bed sometimes when I'm just like, let me just fall asleep with that good lovey-dovey, like look at them together, happy. Okay, so that's my review. Not review. It's not a review. That's my rant. That's my rant and criticism of the consistent Jo and Laurie shipping. Okay, this is the ultimate disrespect, though. This is like, there's a book called Jo and Laurie where two bozos, I almost called them heifers. Not really nice, so I'm just gonna say bozos. That's also not nice, but still, I don't like them. Two women rewrote it, like they just said Jo and Laurie, like if Jo got with Laurie and that's what they wanted to do. And I just hated it. I thought it was so disrespectful, just from like an author standpoint. It's like, you really disagree, just keep it on, just like there's fan fiction for that, okay? You didn't have to make a whole book about it and just like fix my book. The way I would like rise from my grave if someone fixed my book like that, I just think, I'm like, that is so disrespectful. That is so disrespectful. The audacity. But like, some people don't care, like, oh, it's a retelling, and it's just like, nah, I told it right. Don't tell it again, okay? Like, that's how I would feel. But Louisa is dead, so we don't know. I'm probably gonna read that book too, Jo and Laurie, and then review it, just so I can like rightfully give it 1 star instead of just like spitefully giving it 1 star, because I hate the actual like existence of that book. I really do though. I'm just like, why did y'all do this? Why? Anyway. But yeah, that's it. That's why I love Amy and Laurie. And let's talk about my art, my illustration. Is the makeup different? Is it a different day? Yes. Do we need to talk about it? No, we do not. Because what is life but a struggle, you know? So, and it was a struggle with this art thing. So anyway, this is my finished illustration of Amy and Laurie. My idea was to have like, I used an inspiration from weird, they're not weird, it's just creepy because they're old portraits of like a couple, and I just took that pose and I put it in this like frame, and of course behind them that's like wallpaper, and in my imagination this like little portrait is hanging up in like a tea room in their house, okay, perhaps, and I designed that little Amy's dress myself, just with the shape of hearts, right? And also because like in the movie Amy's color is blue, so that's why it's blue, and that's like a little heart there, then you know, the shape repeated on the I don't know, the collar line right there, kind of the chest, and then down the sides of the dress. And of course I do have like I have like a full-on sketch of this that I did, but anyway, and I'll show that too. And then I made the Laurie's suit match her dress, which I feel like he would do, honestly. Like in their lives, whenever she buys fabric that, you know, is going to be made into a dress, he's like, okay, I'm gonna buy that fabric too, so I can have it made into a vest, and then we can correspond. And at first she's like, you stealing my thunder, you need to stop. But though she's like, we do look good though, we do be looking good, we do be matching. I feel like that is something definitely something Laurie would do. He was like, we gotta match, I am matching with you. He's like, that's just what I'm gonna do. You look good, I look good, you're mine, I'm yours, we need to look like a unit. So that's how I feel like he would go into every ball. He's like, we correspond, baby, we are together, we are peanut butter and jelly. Okay, so yeah. And then I kind of went with a cartoonish style. It's not like cartoony, but it's not super realistic either. So yeah, did little rose blushes on their cheeks there. I really like it. I think it's cute. Yeah, So that's my little Amy and Laurie illustration. And I do want to show you, but I mean, I went through it with this illustration, okay? Because first, this is just a sketch I did of the side portrait of Timothy Chalamet's face, and then, yeah, so much planning went into this, y'all. This is the full dress, actually, the little sketch I did that, like, you don't really get to see. But yeah, that's the full dress. The full dress looks cool, I think. Would have been dope. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, I should have made that V deeper. But, whatever. We live and we learn. I still like it. But I really did. There were so many illustrations, so many versions of this that I did. It's quite ridiculous. It took me so long to get this video out. This is kind of like the second video I attempted on this channel, but it took me so long to get something I was happy with. And then I had to do, this is the only sketch of their faces. This is like, you know, my idea. Really rough idea of what actually, you know, later came to be. This is the only sketch of them, of their faces that I ever did. And I could never replicate this again. And as you can see, I still really didn't, even though I copied it. I freaking copied it, and I drew this myself, of course. And then I printed it out, too. I printed it out smaller, so it would be like the right scale. So there is so much work that went into this. It's ridiculous. Do I regret it? Absolutely not. No. I think it was worth it. I love it. I think it's cute. I think they're cute. They're adorable. So yeah, I just imagine this being in their house. Little portrait there where they're actually smiling, even though they didn't smile in the olden times. But we make believe. We make believe. Yeah. And so that's it. That's all I got for Laurie, Amy and Laurie, in my little video. Thank you for watching. Go read a book. Have some thoughts. Or not. You do you. You do you. Take a nap if you want to take a nap. Maybe you deserve a nap. You do deserve a nap. Rest your eyes. Go to sleep. It's okay. Bye. I'm sorry.